welcome, Katri.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we've gathered here once again for the 18th session of Srimad Bhagwat Mahapurana on a weekly meeting of Thinking Thursday. Hare Krishna Sharma ji, we all welcome you once again.
Hare Krishna, my pleasure to be with all of you.
And it's our pleasure to have you with us to enlighten us on this third canto of Srimad Bhagwat Mahapurana, the status quo.
Yes.
So please enlighten us with this topic and tell us more about it.
Yes. Before I start, Varshaji, you had sent me some questions. Should we discuss about those? I think many of the other
Should
participants
later
also.
let other people,
Okay.
let everybody hear it, right? I had
Okay,
put some question to Sharma ji, and because I've always wanted to ask this question, but I've never asked anyone. So I thought Sharma ji is the best person to ask.
Thank
So
you.
I will ask this question later
Okay.
at the end of the session. So maybe you can, spare some 15, 20 minutes before. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
So,
Thank
who is going to start the mantra, pranam mantra, before we start the discussion on the Bhagavatam?
Okay. So Hindi version, Shakuntala ji, Hindi version,
Okay.
boliye.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can chant the shloka and Varshaji can read the translation.
Yeah.
Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram
Naram
Chev
Chaiva
Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim
Devim
Saraswatim
Saraswati
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato
Tato
Jayam
Jayam
Udirayet.
Udirayet.
So the translation of this shloka is, before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana, Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
So now we are discussing very interesting topic from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, starting the topics of discussion, conversation between Mahatma Vidura and Maitreya Muni. Right. So last time in the previous session, we talked about, we spoke about Vidura, the significance of this personality, Vidura, the great devotee of Krishna. And we discussed, why Vidura left Hastinapur. He did not participate in the war on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And I had mentioned to everybody that it was Krishna's plan. Krishna did not want Vidura to be the part of the war, because if he had participated in the war, he would have definitely fought from the Duryodhana side, even though he did not want, but because he was very duty-bound person, so he would have fought from Duryodhana side, and Pandavas would not have been able to defeat him. Krishna was not so much worried about Bhishmadev, about Karna, about Dronacharya, about Kripacharya, about Ashwatthama. He knew that, they are not going to, either won't kill Pandavas, able to kill Pandavas. But Vidura was capable of doing that. And Vidura would have done that. Though Vidura was affectionate towards Pandavas, but for him, duty was more important than the emotions. So if he had participated in the war, definitely he would have become the cause of the defeat for Pandavas. If he had not killed them, at least he could have arrested Maharaj Yudhishthir. And if the main king is arrested, then the other soldiers would surrender. So the war would have ended. So Krishna did not want Vidura to participate. Now, who remembers that how Krishna played the trick? When it comes to being treacherous, being mischievous, being cunning, Krishna is the topmost in all the qualities, right? He's the supreme. So when it comes to cheating also, the way he cheats, nobody else can cheat, right? So how did he play the trick? What did he do so that Vidura himself did not become the part of the war? And he was insulted by Duryodhana. That's why he left Hastinapur. Anyone remembers?
I think he was sent for sadhana. Was he sent out for sadhana?
Teerth, for the Teerth,
Tirtha
Teerth Yatra.
Patra.
He was
it?
not sent. He went. He went on his will.
He went on.
He
his own.
decided to go. He decided to leave Hastinapur. But what was the reason behind him leaving Hastinapur?
Um,
I just mentioned when I was
Yeah,
talking.
I think you said like that when Draupadi was insulted before Krishna did. I am really forgetting. Yeah, so that no one could interfere in between, and so Vidura said, no one is going to follow my instructions. So I better go away. Something like that.
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong.
that we discussed, that I mentioned in our previous discussion. But just now, a couple of minutes ago, I mentioned what was the reason of Vidur to leave Hastinapur. Why? He was a prime minister.
He wanted Pandavas to win, probably.
He didn't want to
No,
kill.
that
He
was not
didn't
the
want
main reason. Of course, he wanted Pandavas to win, but that was not the main reason for Vidura to leave.
He was insulted by Duryodhana.
I refresh your memory. Yes, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes. जब लॉर्ड कृष्णा वहां पे शांति दूत बन के आए थे, तो
Yes.
उस मीटिंग में कुछ बोला था जो दुर्योधन वाज नॉट रेडी, प्लस लॉर्ड कृष्णा ने उनका घर पे खाना खाना नहीं एक्सेप्ट किया, एंड
He played
he went to
Vidura's place.
Yes. See what to refresh for when he went messenger of peace. Now he was going on a kind of a diplomatic trip as a political trip, So he was representing Maharaj Yudhishthir, and on the other side, when Duryodhana invited him to stay at Dushasan's palace and have lunch with him, so as a very thoughtful, very objective, very rational person, and very careful person, very mindful person, Krishna should have accepted Duryodhana's invitation. But he refused. And rather he said, he would go to Vidura's place and have meal there. He would have lunch there. So Krishna purposely did that, deliberately did that, so that Duryodhana's ego would get hurt. And he knew Duryodhana's character. If Duryodhana's ego would get hurt, then out of anger, he would do something very harmful for the whole clan. And that's what Duryodhana did, because Duryodhana became very angry when Krishna openly refused in front of everybody. Krishna refused his invitation. And he praised Mahatma Vidur. He said, I will go and have my lunch, my meal at Mahatma Vidur's place. And he praised, not only he praised Vidura, but he praised Vidura's wife also. So, when Krishna, whatever Krishna does, he takes care of so many times. He taken Krishna visited Hastinapur with Pandavas married to. So at that time also, he was invited at Vidura's place. So when Krishna ate there, Krishna honored the prasadam there. He praised Mahatma Vidura's cooking so much, and he told Mahatma Vidura to Hastinapur, I would be your guest, uninvited guest. Now see, Krishna is telling Vidura. Now many yogis, they want to invite Krishna, but Krishna doesn't listen, right? Because they are not qualified. And here Krishna is telling Vidura, uninvited guest, your invitation and enjoy the cooking of your wife. Used to call her auntie, Kaki Shri, right? So we can understand from this, what is the status of Mahatma Vidur? What kind of devotee Mahatma Vidur is? So from spiritual perspective, Krishna did not want Vidura to fight with Pandavas because both sides will be devotees. And from the diplomatic perspective, he said, if he causes anger in Duryodhana's heart, Duryodhana will take out his anger on mainly Mahatma Vidur because of Vidura, Krishna was refusing. He rejected Duryodhana's invitation. So Duryodhana would express his anger on Vidura. So Krishna knew it very well. And expressing his anger towards Vidura, and was Krishna's plan. So because of that, Vidura went to visit the places of pilgrimage. Muni, before meeting Maitreya Muni, who did he meet?
Uddhav.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. He met Uddhav. And who is Uddhav?
Krishna's cousin.
Friend.
Yes, Krishna's cousin, and very learned, very scholarly, very brilliant. Philosophically, he was very, very brilliant. He was so clever, so intelligent, that even Krishna would seek his advice on some complex issues. I would like to share with you one interesting pastime. See, when you go to Vrindavan, some of you have been there to Vrindavan, and some of you promise also will visit Vrindavan. So when you visit Vrindavan, we'll hear so many pastimes, so many leelas of Krishna. Brijavasis, they will share with you the leelas of Krishna. And many of these pastimes are not mentioned in the scriptures. So they have been passed to generations after generations, from generation to generation. So one of the incidents, it is mentioned that you must be knowing that Sudama went to see Krishna in Dwarika, right? Everybody knows that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Sudama went there, and when he was welcomed and Krishna wanted to do Abhishek, Krishna first washed Sudama's feet, and Krishna did not use any water to wash Sudama's feet first. Krishna washed Sudama's feet with his tears. So much affection, so much love, so much devotion he had for Sudama, because Krishna was playing the role of a Kshatriya, a warrior. So by example, he was showing other warriors, other Kshatriya kings, how Kshatriya kings should express the respect, how they should honor a true Brahmana when Brahmana visits them. So Krishna washed Sudama's feet with his tears. And then he told Sudama that he wanted to do Abhishek for Sudama. So initially Sudama thought, it's not a problem, he may do Abhishek with water, one pot of water. Then Krishna called all his wives to stand in the queue and do Abhishek for Sudama. How many wives Krishna had?
16,108.
16,108. Right? So you can imagine when Sudama saw such a long queue, he could not see the end of that queue. So many queens were standing there to do Abhishek for him. Sudama got really anxious. He asked Krishna that all of these ladies, they are going to do Abhishek, they are going to bathe me. So Krishna said, yes. So Sudama said, I actually don't have so much flesh on my body. You can see my bones are very visible. So my bones are just covered with the skin. There is no flesh, no muscles. So many queens will pour water on me. So my bones also will get drained. So, I better you don't do Abhishek. Krishna said, no, that's a proper etiquette. When a Brahmana comes, so I have to do Abhishek for him. So, and at the same time, Krishna could not refuse Sudama's plea also, Sudama's request. Because as a host, whatever the guest says, the host has to accept. So there was a dilemma. Then Krishna called Uddhava at that time to resolve this problem. So what Uddhava did, in one of the sessions, I discussed about it. Does anyone remember? Does anyone remember?
No, I don't.
No?
No.
In what ways Uddhava was able to resolve this complex situation?
No idea.
Huh?
No idea.
Uddhava told Krishna, you get me an empty pot. And you tell all your queens, 16,108 queens, to take out 1 spoon of water from their pot and put in the empty pot. That means, each one is doing the Abhishek. Right? Because each one is contributing 1 spoon of water in the empty pot, and that pot will be used to do Abhishek for Sudama. Right?
Nice.
So this is Uddhava's intelligence. Of course, Krishna could have resolved this, but because many times Krishna has done that to give credit to his devotee, Krishna would invite his devotee to come and help. Right? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra also, when Krishna showed Virat Swarup, gigantic form, to Arjuna, in that Arjuna could see all the warriors were dead, were killed already by Krishna. And Krishna told him that I have killed them already. But for the namesake, as a nimitta matra, you kill them, and then you will get the credit. So Krishna does that. So this is the caliber of Uddhava. So intelligent he was. So Vidura met Uddhava first. Then he asked Uddhava what happened. Step by step, he was asking everybody's well-being. And Uddhava told them that what happened, how the Kauravas were killed. Pandava side also, everybody got killed. Only the Pandavas were left. And Krishna, of course, was there. They survived. And Kaurava side, Kripacharya, Ashwathama, and Kritavarma, they survived. Because they had the boon of immortality. So this Manvantara, they will survive. This at least the end of this Kali Yuga, this cycle of 4 yugas, at least they will survive. And Uddhava told Vidura that even Yadu dynasty, Bhoja dynasty, Vrishni dynasty, everybody, they fought amongst themselves and they killed each other. Because they were cursed by the Brahmanas. And this was also Krishna's arrangement. Krishna wanted everybody to go back to their abode, because these the people who took birth in the Yadu dynasty, Vrishni clan or Bhoja dynasty, they were not ordinary people. Most of them, they were the demigods. So they came to participate in the pastime of Krishna. So Krishna wanted them to go back because mission was over, mission was completed, mission was accomplished. Right? Krishna wanted to appoint a religious, a pious man, pious king to be the emperor of the whole earth planet, Bharatvarsha. And when Maharaj Yudhishthira was appointed as the emperor. After that, Krishna left. When Pandavas won the war, Krishna's mission was accomplished. All the demoniac, warrior kings, they were killed. So Krishna wanted to end his pastime. So first he wanted all the family members of Vishnu dynasty and the Bhoja dynasty to go back. So he arranged in such a way that they were cursed. That we will talk some other time. They were cursed by the Brahmanas, and they fought amongst themselves and they killed each other. And then Krishna sat under a banyan tree at the bank of a river, and at that time Uddhava met him. Now Krishna protected only one person. All other members of the Vishnu dynasty and Bhoja dynasty, they killed themselves. They fought with each other and they killed themselves. They got killed. But only one person, he was saved, and Krishna wanted him to be saved because he wanted the message what Krishna gave to Arjuna, same message he wanted to give to Uddhava. And then after Uddhava, he wanted that same message to be heard by some other devotee. So first, Krishna gave instructions to Uddhava, that is known as Uddhava Gita, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagwatam. Conversation between Krishna and Uddhava. The questions asked by Uddhava are similar to the questions were asked by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. So after Uddhava, and Krishna instructed Uddhava to give this knowledge or make an arrangement for this knowledge to be passed on to Vidura. So when Krishna was having conversation with Uddhava under the banyan tree, at that time, Maitreya Muni appeared there by Krishna's will. And then Krishna told Uddhava that he can give all the instructions to Maitreya Muni, and then Maitreya Muni can give instructions to Vidura. So that was already arranged by Krishna. So when Vidura met Uddhava, and when Mahatma Vidura asked Uddhava, instead of giving the answers to Vidura's questions, he told Vidura to go and approach Maitreya Muni. So this shows the proper etiquette. Now, in our case, what happens? Even though sometimes, suppose, if we are asked to inform somebody else and somebody else would inform the other person, and if that third person who is supposed to be informed by the second person, and that approaches her directly, because of our ego, will directly start speaking to the person. Right? That is our human nature. Because we want our ego to be satisfied, right?
Yes, very true.
So we want our ego to be fed. And then we feel proud, because I'm so knowledgeable, that's why that person approached me like that. So Uddhava didn't do that, because Uddhava followed Krishna's instructions. So when Vidura asked him, that Uddhava told Vidura that please you go and meet Maitreya Muni, and he's the right person who will give you the answers. And after giving that instructions to Vidura, Uddhava left. Uddhava went to Badrika Ashram to do meditation and then leave the planet. And after hearing from Uddhava, Vidura went to Haridwar, and where he met at the bank of the Ganges river, he met Maitreya Muni. Now see the name of the Muni, Maitreya. What does it mean?
Friendship.
Yes. Who is a true friend? Who is a well-wisher? Who is a true well-wisher of everybody? Right? Correct. So Vidura, when he went there, now Vidura did not directly ask Maitreya Muni about Lord Krishna, about Lord Krishna's Leela. First, he explained to Maitreya Muni that he very briefly told Maitreya Muni about the nature of this material world, what is happening in this material world. One of the things Vidura remembered, what was shared by Uddhava with him. Uddhava told Vidura that we are so unfortunate. And he said that he felt sorry for the people, the kings who took birth in Yadu dynasty, in Bhoja dynasty, in the clan of Vrishni, King Vrishni. So Vidura asked him why. They were so fortunate. They took birth in the same clan in which Krishna appeared. So Uddhava said, what's the use? Even though they took birth in the same clan in which Lord Krishna appeared, but they could not recognize Krishna. They could not understand who Krishna is. They did not realize it. So that was their misfortune. And the example Uddhava shared with Vidura, he said, like the fish in the ocean of milk, when they look at the moon, they think that moon is part of them, is part of their family members, one of the family members. Because you may be knowing that milk is, the moon, it is considered as Putra of Shira Sagara. Shira means milk. So moon is considered as the son of the ocean of milk. So Uddhava said, then when fish living in the ocean of milk, when they look at the moon, they don't appreciate the brightness of the moon, the effulgence of the moon, the qualities of the moon. They consider moon as the part of their family member because they say, oh, he's part of the same ocean where we are living. So he said that the members of the Yadu dynasty also, they made that mistake. They did not recognize Krishna. They did not understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So that was their misfortune. So see, from this we understand that it is not necessary that whoever is very close physically, apparently, personally very close to Krishna, that person is Krishna's devotee. It's not necessary. It's not necessary that person will understand Krishna well. So we need to understand from this example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the incarnation of Krishna, he gave a very wonderful example. He said some people remain very close to devotees, but they don't take advantage of the devotees. They don't take advantage of the actual association of the devotees. Rather, they create problems in the life of devotees. He gave the example of, in Hindi, we say the khatmal, what we call it, the bedworm. The bedworm, right? That the khatmal.
Bed bugs.
What is the English? Sorry?
Bed bugs.
Bed bugs, yes. So they stay very close to our body, right? They stick to our body, but they suck the blood. They cause pain, right? So this is the example Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, who is known different from Krishna himself. So it is not necessary that whoever is very close to Krishna personally, that person is Krishna's devotee. Duryodhana also was very close to, personally very close to Krishna. He interacted with Krishna so many times, but he was not a devotee, right? So Uddhava expressed his sadness. He told Vidura that they were so unfortunate. And then he blamed himself also. He said about himself also that he also is so unfortunate that Krishna is already left, but he's still alive. See the humility. What kind of depth he had. He said, if I was a true devotee of Krishna, when Krishna left this planet, I also should have left, but I'm still alive. So what kind of devotee I am? So I'm also very unfortunate. Now, a person like Uddhava, who was admired by Krishna himself, Krishna would seek his advice. That person is telling about himself that I'm worthless. I'm a very unfortunate person. And here we, when we do something a little bit devotional service, we start admiring, we start, praising ourselves, glorifying ourselves. I'm such a nice devotee of Krishna and all that. So we need to learn the humility from Uddhava, right? So now coming back to the meeting of Vidura and Maitreya Muni. So when Vidura met Maitreya Muni, he did not directly ask Maitreya Muni. First, he told Maitreya Muni, which Maitreya Muni also already knew, just to set the background. Vidura told him, this material world is place of misery. People here, they work day and night to survive. Some people, they thrive for a temporary period of time, but most of the people, they're struggling. And some people who are intellectually more advanced, then they do more subtle activities, like they do meditation and all those kind of things. But still, the aim, the goal, the objective behind doing all these kind of activities, even though activities in mode of goodness, is about themselves. They want to feel something. They want to feel peaceful. They are seeking peace for themselves. So those activities are also out of selfish motive, self-centered. Some people may do philanthropical work also, in the society. They will open schools, hospitals, those kind of things. But deep down, they also are looking for some glorification, some recognition in the society. So Vidura told Maitreya Muni that, that in this kind of situation, this kind of world, when we are influenced by, we are being always hit by the trident of Maya Devi, Trishul, three modes of nature. And because of the influence of three modes of nature, we keep on doing so many different activities. And then we get entangled in the actions and reactions. So how can one be freed from this cycle of birth and death? This kind of questions are repeatedly mentioned in the Bhagavatam. The whole Bhagavatam started by this kind of question. Parikshit Maharaj asked this question from Shukadeva Goswami. Right? So this is setting the kind of a platform for the conversation between Mahatma Vidur and Maitreya Muni. And after saying that, how people can be benefited, how they can get liberated. And then Vidura himself is saying that, that he has heard. No, he doesn't say that I know. He said he heard from the devotees, mainly Uddhava, that whoever listens to the pastimes, the leelas of Krishna, that person can get liberated. So please, you share with me about different pastimes of Krishna in his different forms. And now from here onwards, Maitreya is starting to explain to Mahatma Vidur the different incarnations of Lord Krishna. In one of the sessions, I think in the previous session itself, I mentioned how many main incarnations. Of course, Krishna had numerous incarnations, right? But in the Bhagavatam, how many main incarnations are talked about?
10, 10.
Sorry?
10. I think 10.
You think 10? Anybody else?
Yes, 10.
Anyone else?
It's much
24?
more.
24?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Don't remember the exact number, but it's more.
24? 24, was it?
That was 28.
Yeah, Varshaji, 24 you said, right?
24.
Yes.
Yes, main 24 incarnations. Krishna has numerous incarnations, so unlimited, we cannot count.
Yeah.
But for the purification, for our purification, in the Bhagavatam, 24 incarnations are mentioned. And Shukadeva Goswami described different pastimes of Krishna, different forms, his incarnations, to Maharaj Parikshit, because Maharaj Parikshit had only 7 days left. Right? So Shukadeva Goswami also did not have so much time to describe so many pastimes or different incarnations of Krishna. So he focused on main 24 incarnations of Krishna in the Bhagavatam. And those 24 incarnations are very elaborately, some very briefly, some very elaborately are described. Any question here? Anyone?
No question.
or any comment? So maybe Vashaji, you can put forward your questions.
Can I put my question now? Because I thought
Yes.
you want us to ask question on what you just said.
Yes, first I asked a question because whatever I discussed, but it seems that people don't have any question yet.
Okay. So my question is, I mean, I've always wanted to know this, that what is the significance of wearing the tulsi mala and, the kanti that mostly Vaishnavas wear, the
Yes.
kanti that you wear, or even the chandan tilak that you apply. And usually it comes down all the way down in the, on the bridge of the nose and all the way down to the nose,
Yes.
and in a U shape. And it has that particular shape,
Correct.
the significance of that, or even, the carrying the, I mean, we know that many people do the japa on the mala, but carrying the japa mala in the bag. So all of that. I mean, I've always been intrigued by this. So that's why I just wanted to know.
Yes. So 3 questions you asked. 2 questions regarding the tulsi mala. One is the kanti mala, other is the japa mala, and 1 question about the tilak. So now this Vaishnavas, they put straight tilak, U shape, you said. So the top part, which goes from the Agna chakra towards the Sahasrara chakra, from the 6th chakra towards the 7th chakra, going upwards, tilak always has to be put like this, upwards, going upwards.
So does it go all the way to the top here? I mean,
up to the
ideally.
forehead, top of the forehead.
To the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the movement has to be towards the Sahasrara chakra,
Okay.
from the 6th to the 7th chakra.
Okay.
Right. And now the U shape, symbolically, it implies the charan, the foot of Lord Krishna. And the small part we put on the nose here is a shape of a leaf. It's a tulsi leaf.
Oh, okay.
That means we are offering a tulsi leaf at the feet of Krishna.
Okay.
So that's the meaning behind putting the tilak. Vaishnava tilak is straight. Shaivais, they put 3 lines horizontally, 3 modes of nature.
Yes.
Right? Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So Vaishnavas, they put Krishna's charan, Krishna's footprint on the forehead, and then at the base we put tulsi leaf.
Okay.
Offering tulsi leaf to Krishna. Now the tulsi beads. One is the tulsi leaf we wear, the kanti mala, we wear on the neck. So now I will share with you the significance, the spiritual significance, and also the Ayurvedic reason behind it. Right? The spiritual significance is that, of course, tulsi is very dear to Krishna, right? So Prabhupada used to say, wearing the tulsi mala is like, we are Krishna's dogs. Like the dogs also, they put the belt around their neck belt. So we are Krishna's dogs. So this is our symbol, we are Krishna's servants. So this is our symbol. Sometimes some initial days, in America, some disciples would even address Prabhupada as God. Prabhupada would chastise them, would get angry, upset. This is a sign of a devotee, a genuine devotee. He would never claim to be an incarnation of God. Prabhupada said, no, I'm not God. I'm God's dog. So don't ever call me as God. I'm not incarnation of God. I am his servant. So this is the Tulsi Mala. Now, the Ayurvedic reason is, if you are familiar, those who are doing who are from yoga faculty, they may understand this. So we have 7 chakras, right? In the body, main 7 chakras, right? Vashaji?
Yes.
So here is the 6th chakra, correct?
The
Which is
throat.
called Vishuddha chakra.
Vishuddhi.
The throat chakra.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this chakra is responsible for expression. One is the chakra, Vishuddha chakra. Other is according to Ayurveda, we have the one type of air which circulates around and above the throat region, which is called Udana Vayu. The air called Udana Vayu. Right? So Udana Vayu also is responsible for expression. expressing our views, our thoughts, our emotions through articulation and through gestures. So that ability to communicate, it comes from the throat chakra and the Udana Vayu. So now it is called Vishuddha chakra. So if we break that word Vishuddha, V means Vani also, and V means Vichar also. So Vicharon ki Shuddhi, that means purification of the thoughts, purification of the words, is controlled by this Vishuddha chakra. So when we wear the Tulsi Mala, and if it keeps on touching the Vishuddha chakra and keeps on activating the Udana Vayu, then our Vani, our speech is very pleasant. Now, many times people, they say, that the truth, like in Hindi we say, right? Sach hamesha kadwa hota hai. Sach sadaiv kadwa hota hai. Yes, generally people who do not want to hear truth, for them it is bitter. But the responsibility is of the person also how that truth is expressed. Many times people, when they say something, what they say may be right, but how they say, that may not be right. So the way they express the facts, the truth, sometimes it can be very hurting. So then it doesn't serve the purpose. But sometimes we have to be very firm also. We need to learn how to balance. In what situation, what way we should express what we want to express. Right? So this is the Tulsi Mala, which we wear around the neck. That has the effect. That makes our Vani very pleasant, palatable. People would like to listen. And our vichar, our thought process also becomes purified by wearing this Tulsi Mala. Then the Japa Mala, the Japa beads we carry. How many beads a Japa Mala has?
108.
Why that specific number?
12 Rashi, 9 planet. So 12 into 9, 108. And then we have, if you say nakshatra, we have 27 nakshatra, multiply it by 4 pada, it becomes 108. Simple.
Very good. So this is from the Vedic astrology perspective.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And from the scriptural perspective, there are 108 Upanishads.
Yeah. Correct.
So each bead represents one Upanishad. Right? So that means it is said, that a person who chants Krishna's holy name on the Japamala, on the beads, it is not necessary for that person to read all 108 Upanishads. He will get the benefits of reading all 108 Upanishads. And from the perspective of Bhagavatam, why 108? Krishna had 16,108 wives. Right? Out of those, 108, they were very significant, very primary. And out of those 108, also the 8 queens were very important. So because of that, we have 108 beads. Right? Now, there is a way of chanting. This finger should not touch the beads. The beads should be held between our middle finger and the thumb. Right? Middle finger represents dharma. And our thumb represents our own ego, our own personal identity. So we are holding the bead between our ego and the dharma, and we are requesting Krishna to take us towards piety, to take us towards dharma, to take us towards himself, make us his devotee. He should give us more opportunity to serve him. See, in our Vedic culture, whatever minutest things we do, apparently the thing may look very simple. But each and every precise and specific thing has some precise and specific logical reason behind it. Whatever simple things we do, there's some reason behind it.
There's
Provided we are doing it correctly.
a question. Why do we avoid index finger?
Huh. What is the word of index finger in Hindi?
Tarjani.
What does it mean?
छोड़ना. हाँ.
उसका त्याग कर देना है ना.
हाँ, leave it.
We have to leave it aside.
But क्यों?
उसका नाम ही है तर्जनी. Because of that, it is called tarjani. It is to be kind of avoided, should not be used. Many people, many Vaishnavas, I have seen my grandfather, when he used to eat on a prasadam, he would not allow this finger to touch his food. He would hold the food like this and eat like that. So this finger would be kept aside. Now, when we use japamala, Gaumukhi we call it. In that also we put the hand, this finger is kept out. So this finger is kept out. Now,
This
you
is
ask me a specific.
in palmistry too. This is Jupiter's finger.
Yes, the base of that finger is Jupiter, ruled by Jupiter. This is called Jupiter's mount of Jupiter.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Now, from Ayurvedic perspective, symbolically, this finger represents air.
Okay.
Correct?
Okay.
Now, air, normally, when it influences our mind cannot be settled. Mind would wander around. Right? So now, those who chant regularly, they can relate to what I'm going to say now. See, without this finger touching the japa beads when we chant, still our minds wander around, right? We cannot concentrate, we cannot focus.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So
true.
Imagine that without the finger which is responsible for the air, it is not touching the beads. When it touches the beads, how much more mind will be wandering. So this air finger, it should be kept aside, because mind and air, the element for mind is air, right? So when the air influences the mind cannot be settled, cannot be focused. So for that reason also, this finger is kept aside, so that at least, sometimes when we are chanting, we are able to concentrate when we are chanting. Does it make sense, Shakuntala ji?
Yes. Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
I
Very
want
good
to ask
question,
one question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So I wear this rosary, this ring here in my index finger. And I generally turn this while I'm talking or I'm doing chanting, like 7 chant at least. But if this is air, then this is not the right finger to wear it.
See, of course, you have a point. But see, now, when you're chanting, you're touching the rosary, right?
Right. I'm just touching.
Yes. So you're touching the rosary. So you may get some benefit. You may be able to control your mind to a certain extent.
Yes.
I don't know who told you to do that. What
I had gone to Ganeshpuri. There's this ashram, Chidvilasananda Siddhi Yoga. There I saw this rosary bead silver, and I got it and I wore it and I started chanting from that time onwards. Okay. But when I heard this just now, I was wondering that I'm doing this.
No, my humble suggestion to you, my humble request to you, if you can put it in this middle finger, the dharma, finger of dharma, okay, and you chant and see whether you see any difference, and you can share with us next time when we meet.
Thank you. I'll just do it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And see, the other thing is, that why we hold the beads between these fingers, and the finger should touch the beads, because the tips of the fingers, they have direct connection. They have direct influence on our heart. Right? Have you heard that? Have you heard that?
No.
I've heard of the engagement ring wala finger.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so see, the reason, actually all fingers, the nerves are connected with the heart, particularly this ring finger. In yoga, there is an exercise which I have, technique I have shared with many of my clients who have some problem with the heart. So if they are not able to do some difficult exercises, any difficult yoga asana, so this exercise tell them, while sitting on the chair also they can do it, and their heart will get toned up, will become stronger by doing that simple exercise. It's the exercise of fingers. So the shape of the fingers is made like the hood of a cobra. The knuckles are slightly bent. The arms are kept, straight at the shoulder level, parallel to the floor and parallel to each other. And then focusing on the tips of the fingers, one has to take a deep breath in and stiffen the fingers, imagining that the person is pulling something towards the body, towards his or her body, using the fingers. And there should be trembling, shaking effect on the fingers, like shivering effect on the fingers. When you tighten it, you'll feel the fingers will start shaking on their own. So holding the breath, one has to do that, and then breathing out, just relax your fingers like this. So when this simple exercise is done, it has very good strengthening effect on the heart. In the yogic philosophy, our guru used to say that before, if you have seen, now it may be in many antique shops, the typewriters, old one, how to press the key very hard keys. One had to press. Nowadays, we have computers.
Yeah.
The keys are so soft. When you touch, just by mistake also you touch, it will be typed. But those typewriters, you have to press very hard, right? They would make so much noise. Tuck, 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 so much noise, right?
Correct. Yes.
So our guru used to say people who work on the typewriters for long hours, or even people who are musicians, who play musical instruments with the fingers, they are prone to get heart diseases. Because when they are using fingers too much, they have the weakening effect on the heart. So they may get heart attack. They are prone to getting heart attack.
So
When he was
Sharmaji,
teaching us, yes, Varshaji.
sorry, go ahead. I'll ask later. First, you complete what you have to say.
Yeah, so when Guru, he taught us this exercise about the simple exercise of the fingers, which has a strengthening effect on the heart. At that time, he gave this explanation. Yes, Varshaji, now go ahead.
So when we do the acupressure, the reflexology, and for sinus, especially for sinus, we press the tips of the fingers. So I thought that is the tips of the fingers connected to this region. And you're saying the heart. So I'm a little confused now.
Yeah, of course, the sinus also has connection. Basically, the nerves, the veins from the fingers, when they go, they have the connection with the heart. But when we talk about the nadis, the energy channels, they have the connection with the sinus as well. Not only the sinus, they regulate the air circulation of this Udana Vayu, the air around the throat and above the throat region. So one of the reasons why people's sinus gets clogged, what's the reason? Anyone knows?
Because of
When
the
the
mucus,
air, sorry?
mucus, excess of mucus.
Yes, when the mucus becomes accumulated, right? It clogs the sinus. Now, what is the reason that mucus gets accumulated there? Mucus is a water element, right?
Kapha.
Yeah, so it's a thick mucus, yes, correct. It's copper, but still
The
it's a
flow
water
is
element.
not proper. The flow is not proper in the channels, that in the
Yes,
hollow
now
spaces.
in Ayurveda it is said that any kind of movement which happens within our body, whether it's a movement of the blood, energy, consciousness, all these things move within our body because of the air. Air is the transporting element in our body. So the air, the one type of air which is around and above the throat region, when that air element, that type of air does not circulate very well, the mucus becomes more accumulated and the sinus gets clogged. So because the tips of the fingers, their connection with the Udana Vayu, then the Udana Vayu circulation improves. So when the Udana Vayu circulation improves, then the mucus is released from that. the sinus becomes clear. Does it make sense to you, Vashaji?
Yes. So, and also I have one more question since we are talking about Ayurveda. So, the sense of hearing is to do with the throat, the throat chakra or the third eye chakra, because the ears, that's to do with the sound, right? So hearing is connected to the, associated with the throat chakra.
Throat chakra is the expression.
Ears.
Expression. When we talk.
Yeah.
The hearing is by the Agna chakra.
But isn't it the sound, the element is sound, right?
Yeah, but this is receiving, right?
Okay.
So when we release, when we express, when we speak, so when the sound is released from our side, throat chakra is responsible. When we are receiving the sound, Agna chakra is responsible.
So if anybody has vertigo, so we need to work on the third eye.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And also on the throat chakra also, one of the reasons, why people get vertigo? Why do people suffer from vertigo?
So there's I know this, I don't know how far it is true. Maybe, I don't know if I'm correct. So there is a fluid in the ears which is responsible for the balance of the body. Is that what it is?
That is kind of, you can say that it's like a mechanical thing, organical thing. But from the subtle level, you may laugh when I say that. In Ayurveda, it is mentioned. People who talk nonsense unnecessarily, such people are prone to getting vertigo problem.
Okay, can I say something?
Yes.
Because recently a friend of mine is going through a vertigo, okay? And he's the quietest person I've ever seen. He hardly ever talks. He hardly ever talks. So I'm wondering if it is.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, once I asked him, what is it that you don't want to hear? And he said, I don't like when people talk, complain. I don't like it at all. So that's your.
Yeah, now see, very good point you raise. See, now this is called Udana Vayu, right? Overall, it is Vata. In Ayurveda, we call it Vata. Vata disorder causes all these kind of problems with the senses. Any extreme, it can cause a problem. When the person becomes too quiet, suppression of the emotions also can become the cause. And overexpression also, unnecessary expression also can become the cause. Air causes any kind of problem which is caused due to the Vata disorder. It can be extreme. The air can make a person very, hyperly active. And that same air element, which is cause of the movement, which allows the person to move around, when it becomes aggravated, too forceful, it can cause paralysis. Like, I give you a practical example. Now, when the air is moving around in the environment, we are able to breathe, right? When the movement of the air is very slow, we feel suffocated. And now supposing we stand in front of the fan, very strong fan, at full speed, that also will make us difficult to breathe. When we are standing in front of the fast fan, we will not be able to breathe in properly, comfortably. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever experimented that? Too much force of air also can cause a problem. And if it is too slow, it can cause a problem. So air can cause both types of problem. It can make the person very lethargic when it is not circulating very well. Person becomes very lethargic, very slow. And when it is moving too fast, either the person can become hyperly active or completely paralyzed.
What about Parkinson? Is the Parkinson also connected with the air element?
Yes. Just recently, last year only, I was treating one European guy, just beginning stage of Parkinson. So the doctor told him that in modern medical science, there is no cure. Only they give medicines to manage the Parkinson's disease. So since it was the beginning, because he realized, when he in the morning when he was having his coffee, Europeans they like to drink coffee. The cup he dropped, he could not hold it. Then his wife also was shocked. So then from that they found, just to cut the story short. So did the treatments for him, mainly Vata disorder, and gave him some mixture of Ayurvedic oils to massage regularly, day and night, mainly on his fingers and different parts of the body. In about 3.5 months, his all symptoms disappeared. The doctor told him there is no need to take any medicine now.
Okay.
So yes, these kind of elements, Pancha Mahabhutas, our body is made up of these Pancha Mahabhutas, 5 elements. So these elements can help us to be active and do our activities properly. And when there is imbalance, our activities are affected.
Prabhuji, I have not a question per se, but something to ask. Since, as per the allopathy, all these things are not curable. But you're saying that, by treating these vata and all the doshas, it's possible to cure all these things, because vertigo and Parkinson, these are kind of non-reversible kind of diseases. So, but and you're saying that it's possible with Ayurveda. So is that correct? I mean,
Yes, it is correct. To give you answer in one word, yes, it is correct. I share with you, I had a client long time ago. He was a captain in an airline. I will not disclose the name of the airline. And he realized that he had vertigo because, sometimes you might have seen on the flight, the crew members, particularly the pilots or captains, sometimes they walk in the aisle and then they speak to the passengers. So on one flight, he bent forward a little bit downward to speak to a passenger. After speaking to the passenger, when he stood straight, his head started spinning. Luckily, he said he was holding the rail of the in cabin, that the carrier there, the box. So he was able to balance. Then he went and sat in the cabin, his cabin, and later on he went to see the doctor, the panel doctor. The panel doctor told him that yes, so it was the beginning of vertigo, and if it continues, then he cannot be on that job. He had to resign. Otherwise, it's very risky. Imagine a pilot is having vertigo problem. So then the doctor told him that he can try for 6 months. There was no cure. He said that in the allopathic system there is no medicine for that. So when I told him that it is Vata disorder, then started doing the treatments for him. Then gave him some simple home remedies and diet change, some yoga exercises. Then he could keep his job. Now he has changed his job, but he's working for another airline. But he's still a captain with the airline. So the point I want to make, yes, many times, you may hear from the doctors. Now that also depends on the chronicness and the severity of the problem. So most of these diseases, when they are not so serious, not at very, very advanced stage, they can be cured by using Ayurvedic remedies, Ayurvedic principles. Yes?
sure, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful. A lot of information.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Before we conclude, any last question anybody has?
Yeah, I have a question. I have this depression issue, like, mild depression keeps coming, keeps going, and I fight it out. I work. But sometimes it takes me into deep sadness. There's nothing to worry. There's no sadness. Everything is gratefully provided, but yet it kind of consumes me. So how can I work on myself using Ayurvedic principles? And I'm studying, I'm doing everything that is ought to be in my sadhana, but still it comes.
Yeah, see now, as we say in Ayurveda, that we need to find the root cause of the problem.
Yeah.
Now, these kind of problems, generally the neurological problems, emotional problems like depression and all this, anxiety, panic attacks, mainly they are caused due to the Vata disorder.
Okay.
Because when Vata is imbalanced, it makes the nervous system very weak. So when the nervous system becomes weak, then person cannot handle very simple situations also.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And also another effect of the Vata disorder is, Vata imbalance is, person starts magnifying the things, magnifying the problem
Mm.
unnecessarily. The problem may be very small. Then person will start being, oh, I may have this problem, I may have that problem. Start imagining the worst situation.
Yeah. But it's like, the opposite side is that for me, especially, I don't know how it happens for different people, different way. But
Yes.
for me, I do not exaggerate situations. I see it as it is. And since I'm into psychology, I question all my thoughts. I get out of them. I do not catastrophize. मैं नहीं करती हूँ. पर एक sadness है. There's this lingering sadness. Which happened to me when my grandmother passed away. It is years, 17 years. But that sadness just doesn't go. I've done inner child work. I've done so much work on myself. That there's just deep, and it consumes me at times. I become a social recluse. I don't like talking on phone. I don't like people calling me, getting to me. So मुझे उससे निकलना है, and I don't know what to do.
Very briefly, I will just share with you.
Yeah.
See, one of the reasons of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, as I said, Vata disorder, because it makes the nervous system very weak. Another is accumulation of excessive unwanted water element in the body. Water element has direct connection with the emotions.
Yeah, that's true.
So when there is excessive water element in the body, it makes our mind very cloudy. So in spite of having understanding at the intellectual level, you may not be able to implement that advice, what you want to do. What advice you may give to others, you may not be able to apply for yourself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So then the excessive water element is to be removed from the body, so that there is proper air circulation, proper oxygenated blood circulates. Then your confidence level also will be much better. Confidence level also, again, I would say that pertaining to yourself. Now you mentioned to me that you do psychology and all that, so you may be able to motivate other people very well. Other people may benefit from your advice, but you cannot apply that advice for yourself.
True.
Right?
Yeah, to a lot of extent. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is like, I know this is the right path. I know this is what is to be walked on, but then I don't have the strength to do it.
Yes.
And then Dr. Jain will push me, or Shakuntala ji will push me, or somebody will push me, and then I'm back on track. And it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, in this kind of situations, in these kind of cases, I share this example, practical example with my clients. For making the air circulation more regulated in the environment. Supposing we use there is a fan in your room. We use a fan, right? When we switch on the fan, the air circulates properly, regularly. So it makes us feel comfortable also. So if there is some dust on any surface, so when we switch on the fan, the air from the fan will remove the dust, will clear the dust from the surface, right? But after some time, we see the fan itself has become so dusty. The wings of the fan, the body of the fan is very dusty. But still, when we switch on the fan, it can remove the dust from the surroundings, but it cannot get rid of the dust accumulated on its own wings. We have to clean with a cloth and all, right?
Yeah.
So that means the people around you, like example, as supposing you're a fan, people around you will benefit from your advice, but you cannot take advantage of your own advice.
Right.
So much of dust accumulated. Just an analogy I'm giving you.
Yes.
Yeah, does it make sense to you?
It makes complete sense to me. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was, Bhagwatam and Ayurveda discussion today.
Okay,
Very
I think
interesting.
somebody has raised his hand. Vikas
Yes,
has
Vikas, you can ask.
Yes.
My question was how to balance an underactive thyroid.
Underactive?
Thyroid.
Hypothyroid. Hypothyroid, okay. See, hypothyroid and hypothyroid, both are caused by the malfunctioning of the throat chakra and the Udana Vayu.
Yes.
So from the chakra level, you need to treat your throat chakra, Vishuddha chakra. And from the perspective of air element, the Udana Vayu used to be regulated. So there are specific breathing exercises and one bandha. If you are familiar with yoga, in yoga we have 3 locks, 3 bandhas. Mula bandha, Uddiyana bandha, and Jalandhar bandha. Jalandhar bandha is a chin lock. So there is a specific way of doing it. If you do that, that can be very helpful for you.
Sir, I'm not familiar with it.
So I'm just giving you the name. It's called chin lock. So you can learn from any yoga teacher. Where do you live, may I ask? Where are you based?
Pardon?
Where are you based, Vikas? Where do you live?
I'm Ambala, Haryana.
So yeah, you can find any yoga teacher there easily, and just learn from that yoga teacher how to do the chin lock. So that will be very helpful for your throat chakra as well as the Udana Vayu.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So are we done today?
Can I also ask a quick question?
Yes, please go ahead.
What does Ayurveda think about dry fasting, especially for Vata enhanced people?
Dry fasting, you mean?
Yeah, without water.
Yeah, so now see, there are 2 things we need to bear in mind. One is whether the person's Prakriti is Vata. That means predominant constitutional dosha is Vata. And second is whether the person's Vikruti is Vata. The imbalance of Vata. So according to that, if it is imbalance of Vata, the person is suffering from, then the person has to be very, very careful. Such people actually, from Ayurvedic perspective, we don't encourage such people to fast. Because, then there is the possibility of such people to become very emotionally disturbed, cranky, irritated very easily. But if Vata is the predominant dosha, then under proper supervision, depending on the proportion of the air, the Vata dosha in the system, the duration is given. But generally, in general, I'm telling you that whether it's a Vata Prakriti or Vata Vikruti, Vata category people, they are not advised, they are not encouraged to do dry fast. At least some warm water or some juices they should be keep on drinking. Otherwise, the Vata may go out of balance very easily.
Understood.
So their intention may be to benefit by doing fasting. So instead of benefiting themselves and others, they may cause more harm. It may be harmful for their personal health, and it may be harmful for the environment of the family.
Right.
Because such people can get irritated, angry, upset very easily. So they have to be managed. Vata people, they have to be managed very, very carefully. So generally, I don't encourage my clients who have predominant Vata dosha or Vata disorder. I don't encourage them to do fasting because many times, nowadays because of social media, every third person becomes a doctor, they start giving advice, do this, do that. I benefited from this, so you also will benefit. Each individual is different, so we need to deal with each individual very carefully. This is called fallacy of generalization. We cannot generalize things. So I discourage my clients, don't do this intermittent fasting and all that. 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours fasting. Yes, for kapha people, it's not a problem. They can tolerate, they can stay hungry for longer time, but not for pitta and vata people.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Sorry, I'm not sure whether I answered
No,
your question.
no, it makes complete sense. I was just thinking like if the Vata is located like particularly just in Apana Vayu rather than like upper, like in the mental area, is it still discouraged?
Like in Hindi we say, पेट में वायु का भरना अच्छा होता है, मगज में वायु नहीं भरना चाहिए. Right? It is better to have more air accumulated in the stomach rather than in the head.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Yeah. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. So Hare Krishna to everybody, and
Hare
We'll meet again, Varshaji.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Did
you
I-
so
did I
much.
answer-
Hare
Thank you, Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Varshaji, did I answer your questions appropriately?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I mean, that
You
was
must conduct one webinar on Ayurvedic also. It's very interesting.
We
Yes, I don't
had
mind doing that.
earlier, I think
I don't mind doing that.
next we should. Yes.
Yes.
We'll plan, definitely.
Yeah, this knowledge is to be shared.
Yeah. It's very much needed.
Very informative today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad that you liked the session. Thank you very much. And Hare Krishna to everybody.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.